you do it then if you're so clever?
Put on your robe and wizard hat because it's time to hear about the magic coming your way this Saturday. Hello again, UWA Elite fans, and welcome to the final card rundown for 2024. It's Last Breath, it's our season finale, and we want you to be there with us this Saturday, November 16th. As always, doors open at 6 p.m., bell time is 6:30, and you can find us at the UWA Elite Army Base at the South River VFW, 31 Reed Street in South River, New Jersey. Again, this is going to be a magical evening, not just because of the action in the ring, but also because we want to see you in your wizarding best at Last Breath. Get your tickets now at uwaelite.com, follow us on all the socials, and get ready for the rundown of the UWA Elite 2024 season finale, Last Breath. Well, it's the end of another season, and while there were ups and downs for many members of our roster, one team is cruising into Last Breath in a very festive mood. Chris Steeler and Michael Massacre, the Just Us League, picked up not just the pinfall victory at Brawl for It All, but their victory also brought the UWA Elite Tag Team Championship titles back to the Standard Bearer and the Sixth Element. Now, this victory was not without controversy. It is a Just Us League match after all, as the contingent provided a significant distraction to then-champions Troy Locke and Jeff Cannonball of the X Express. Steeler and Massacre took advantage with a pair of low blows, a double-team attempted murder of Troy Locke, and the 1-2-3 for the new tag team champs. Now, as I've said plenty of times before, the record books don't keep track of how you got that victory, just that you got it. And that means the Just Us League have reason to celebrate, and celebrate they intend to do, as they announced during a backstage interview with Shannon May that since the X Express, Contingent, Old Guard, Lost Boys, and the Do or Die Posse are all otherwise occupied for Last Breath, I'll get to those matches in a bit, they're going to throw, and I quote, the biggest, loudest, most expensive celebration that UWA Elite has ever seen. Now, just how big are we talking? I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they have in store for us this Saturday, when the Standard Bearer Chris Steeler and the Sixth Element Michael Massacre throw their Tag Team Championship celebration. And speaking of that Tag Team title match from Brawl last month, the Contingent were indeed successful at getting the X Express to lose those titles, but by the end of the night it was looking like a pretty hollow success. Corvus loses his Iron Man title challenge against Jim Wilder, a match that was gifted to the Matt Mechanic after Ty lost that Iron Man title to Wilder at iWrestle, by the way. After an errant throw of brass knuckles from Ty missed its intended receiver Corvus. And later that evening in the Brawl, all three members of the Contingent were eliminated by Jeff Cannonball. Even Nick Kay, a surprise entrant, well, he managed to take out the distracted Locke and Daniel, but then was also dumped to the floor by Cannonball. BT Bull illegally returned to the ring to eliminate Cannonball, completing the odd statistic that all members of the Contingent and the X Express were eliminated by each other. Well, after the Brawl, we saw what's now becoming a familiar sight, as the Contingent were left trying to figure out what went wrong. Cannonball, Locke, and Daniel stormed in demanding revenge for both the tag title and Brawl matches, in the form of a 3-on-3 match at Last Breath. Now, Corvus initially said no, but Kay overruled him on two conditions: no physical interaction before Last Breath, and Nick Kay gets to pick the stipulation for the match. Well, thanks to a Nick Kay promo you can see on UWA Elite social media right now, we now know what that stipulation will be. The boss of this war is calling it the Power Play, and here are the rules. It's a 3-on-3 elimination match, but we start out 1-on-1. Much like the Brawl, there will be timed entrances, alternating each team adding another member of their side to the match. The final entrant for each team is their captain, and it is only when one of the captains is eliminated that the match is over. Anyone who has entered the match can be eliminated at any time, so the strategy is simple. Do whatever you can to survive long enough to protect your captain and make sure he isn't pinned or submitted, and hopefully pin your opponent's captain in the process. Now, after hearing this, the X Express eventually selected Troy Locke as their captain, the man to enter third for their team. Not a bad choice, allowing the combined size of Cannonball and the speed of Daniel to hold off the Contingent. On the other side, Kay has chosen Ty Thomas as the contingent's captain, citing the need for Thomas to prove himself, to prove he belongs. It's maybe a bit of a head-scratcher given Ty's recent run of bad luck. The loss to Wilder, the off-target throw of the brass knuckles, and being eliminated uncomfortably quickly in the brawl. As you well know, I am no Ty Thomas fan, but it seems like a lot is maybe unfairly resting on Thomas's shoulders here. But then again, when it comes to Nick Kay, nobody knows his associates better than he does. Maybe Kay sees something, a return to the against all odds success that Thomas saw 2 to 3 years ago, when he was demanding challenge after challenge and then proceeding to back it up. In any case, this Saturday night in South River, the X-Express of Jeff Cannonball, V. Daniel, and Captain Troy Locke will face off in a 3-on-3 elimination match against Eric Corvus, BT Bull, and Captain Ty Thomas the Contingent in Nick Kay's Power Play. Well, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, one man who has had some success against the Contingent lately has been your Iron Man champion, Jungle Jim Wilder. An unexpected win against Ty Thomas at iWrestle was followed up at Brawl in a thrilling title defense against Eric Corvus. As a matter of fact, Wilder was backstage being interviewed by Shannon May as he recapped these matches, his 2-0 record against the Contingent recently, when Boom Harden entered the scene. You see, Boom was the man who eliminated Wilder in the Brawl, and as low as the odds were that the number 3 entrant would go the distance, it's still in Boom's mind enough to stake his claim to a title shot. He was the man to take out the Iron Man champ, so he should be next in line for a match. While Wilder didn't necessarily agree with that logic, he is indeed accepting the challenge anyway, on the basis that, regardless of Brawl results, Boom Harden against Jungle Jim is a 5-star match, and that is what Last Breath deserves. Boom later stated that Wilder's success is rather distasteful to Boom, simply because Jungle Jim is getting accolades and accomplishments that Boom just never did. The opportunities have slipped through his fingers, and the promise to the UWA Elite Army? Bet on Boom. Can the Cinderella story of Jungle Jim Wilder continue into 2025, seeing him still as your Iron Man champion? Or will the man who declared himself a Ferrari compared to Wilder's Mustang take that Iron Man championship belt and give Harden the place in the record books that he so desperately craves? It's the champ Jim Wilder defending against challenger Boom Harden one-on-one, and the Iron Man title is on the line. Now, Wilder is not the only wrestler who has a high-energy title defense coming his way at Last Breath. UWA Elite I champion Bulldog Pittman got a visit backstage following Brawl for It All. It was surprise entrant Flash Carter who made his return debut in the Brawl. Flash congratulated Bulldog for his successful I Championship title defense against the Old Guard's Mike Seaway, but he quickly reminded Pittman that the belt he was carrying belonged to Carter not too long ago. As a matter of fact, Flash technically never lost that belt, with an injury forcing him to choose a replacement to defend it. And when Jay Evans took up the challenge but lost to Eric Corvus, Flash, again due to his injury, was of course not able to claim a rematch to try and get that championship back. But now Flash is at 100%, or at least near enough to demand what he sees as his rightful rematch. Flash reminded us that not only was he the longest ever reigning I champion at an even 400 days, but he was also the 3-time back-to-back-to-back most popular wrestler. He's looking for the fans to be in his corner for this challenge. But on the champion's side, Bulldog expressed respect that Flash didn't ambush him or attack him in a vulnerable moment, but rather approached him face to face. However, being a fighting champ means taking every challenge seriously, even when it comes from a presumably friendly source. And so that means Bulldog Pittman will be looking to ride that wave of momentum and defend his I Championship title belt this Saturday against Flash Carter, one-on-one at Last Breath. I will get to the controversies surrounding the end of Brawl for It All in just a little bit, but suffice to say that not every tag team on the roster agreed with how the Final Four shook out. As a matter of fact, while Ryan Rise was backstage after Brawl, asking UWA Elite President Dave Swan for a path back to the tag team division for himself and fellow Lost Boy Miles Penn, the office suddenly got very crowded as the Old Guard and the Do or Die posse all decided to crash the meeting. Now, amid all of the shouting, name-calling, challenges, retorts, and general animosity, demands for matches were made with the intent of evening things up. Well, Dave Swan made a call that will go down in UWA Elite history as the first of its kind. You see, all three tag teams, the Lost Boys, Do or Die Posse, and Old Guard, have either a legitimate gripe or a reason to defend against said gripes. And since Swan tends to try and balance wrestler demands with what will be most entertaining for the UWA Elite Army, he's made the historic decision to not only have the Golden Ticket ladder match at Last Breath this year, that's unusual but not the historic part, but also to make this the first ever tag team Golden Ticket ladder match. That's right, in a 6-man, 2 versus 2 versus 2 matchup, the Golden Ticket briefcase will be suspended above the ring, and in that briefcase will be a contract to challenge for the UWA Elite Tag Team Championships at any event for a full calendar year. The Golden Ticket ladder match is always just this side of complete chaos, but with the introduction of actual teams into the match, this year's briefcase just got a whole lot more important. It's all on the line at Last Breath when Ryan Rise and Miles Penn, the Lost Boys, face TJ Blade and Mike Seaway of the Old Guard, and the Do or Die Posse's Robbie Roller and KTB in the first ever tag team Golden Ticket ladder match. So that's only 2 of the Lost Boys, and that's only 2 of the Do or Die Posse. And considering the tag team Golden Ticket ladder match, we have a match coming your way on Saturday that could have huge implications in the tag team division. UWA Elite Hall of Famer and Do or Die Posse member Big Dan Wynant, he entered the Brawl for It All at number 9, but survived until elimination number 25, next to last of the entrants eliminated through competition. Yes, I'm getting to that. Ethan Promise is making his return at Last Breath and has vowed to support his Lost Boys teammates in any way possible. Well, this is how it's going to happen. Ethan Promise, one-on-one against Big Dan. Now, as for how this affects the Golden Ticket, well, let's say the Do or Die Posse claim the briefcase. This match could give Promise a victory and the Lost Boys a reason to try and finagle a challenge for the Golden Ticket. Then again, if Big Dan wins, maybe the Do or Die Posse decides to swap him in for either Roller or KTB for that tag team championship match. Or what if the Old Guard claim the Golden Ticket? Then this matchup could set up the first post-Old Guard challenge for the tag team championships. Basically, the person who wins this match could potentially dictate the path of the Golden Ticket that it takes through the tag team division. Battle lines will be drawn, jockeying for position will take place based on this match, shaping the first few months of 2025. It's the Lost Boys' Ethan Promise taking on the Do or Die Posse's Big Dan Wynant, one-on-one, this Saturday at Last Breath. So, first off, congratulations once again to the Wretched Bose on his UWA Elite Hall of Fame induction last month at Brawl for It All. But even in his retirement from in-ring action, that in-ring action seems to be hell-bent on finding Bose and trying to drag him back in. That sentiment took the form of King Tech last month, when the Red Lion interrupted the induction ceremony and speeches, looking to again confront Sean Damage McNellis, who by the way was just a little bit busy inducting his best friend Bose into the Hall of Fame, as well as Bose himself. Well, Tech, who also shares that best friend title, stretched the patience of Bose to the limit, saying his final match proved he was a loser, referring to Bose's transition into his role as head of production as, quote, pathetic, and lamenting that when Bose is working a ringside camera, fans in the front row are blocked by, forgive me as I am only quoting here, by Bose's fat ass. Well, that was as much as Damage could stand to hear, and he attacked Tech until being physically pulled away by Bose, who chased Tech out of the ring. Now, backstage following the event, Tech confronted Ryan T backstage to get his Iron Key weaponry back, only to turn back around and come face to face with the man whose Hall of Fame induction ceremony he interrupted earlier in the evening, the Wretched Bose. Bose picked up Tech by the throat, berating him until SDM stormed in looking to once again get a piece of Tech himself. McNellis was held off by Bose, who then separated the two long enough to declare that SDM and Tech will be settling their score once and for all, and he's going to be absolutely sure that score gets settled, because the special guest referee for their match will be the wretched Bose. Decades of friendship and rivalry will culminate on November 16th in what is being billed as the final chapter, when the Red Lion, King Tech, squares off against Sean Damage McNellis one-on-one with special guest referee and newly minted UWA Elite Hall of Famer, the wretched Bose. Now, before I get to the main event and we discuss who will enter 2025 as the UWA Elite Champion, let's talk briefly about another reason to look forward to 2025. And that is the planned return of fan favorite and former Pretty Frickin' Ugly tag team champ, Explosive Eddie Thomas. Eddie was sidelined earlier this year when he suffered an ACL tear at Aggression, and then of course the necessary surgery to replace said ligament. It led to his announcement with tag partner Jay the Key Evans at Livin' on the Edge that since there is a 9-month recovery time for Thomas, they would have to give up their tag team titles. Well, Eddie and Jay have let us know that they want to give us an updated timeline to the return of the Explosive One, and I for one can't wait to hear it. February and the end of that 9-month recovery time is not that far away, and with the workout ethic of Thomas, with Jay's help of course, we could conceivably get the announcement that Eddie might be ready as soon as the second or third event of the year, depending on how his knee holds up during the in-ring training. Now personally, I'd love to hear it'll be closer to the season premiere setting the standard, but if more time means he returns to the ring healthy, I think we'd all support that decision as well. In any case, I am looking forward to Eddie Thomas making good on his word from Livin' on the Edge, saying that 2025 is going to be a pretty frickin' ugly year. So, the finish of the eponymous Brawl for It All. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure that you could properly describe it without using the word cluster. Now, just to briefly recap, all 4 members of the Old Guard found themselves with entrant numbers of 20 and above. This allowed them to basically run the table in the later stages of the brawl and have the final 4 men standing, all wearing the OG cut. However, it was at this point that stuntman Chris Powers flexed his muscle as de facto leader of the group, telling each of the other 3 members to eliminate themselves, which would then give Powers a rematch against Corey Dillinger for the big belt at Last Breath. Well, TJ Blade and Mike Seaway both put their trust in Powers and did as they were asked, climbing over the top rope, hopping down to the arena floor, ending their brawl participation. As for the anti-hero Joey Adams, though, he was obviously torn. With the threat of his UWA Elite contract, which has been under the control of the Old Guard since Aggression, being terminated, Adams had to decide between his career and his pride, morals, sense of justice. I'm not 100% sure where it was coming from, but Adams stepped up to Powers, the two started exchanging blows, fought on the ring apron, and wound up hitting the floor simultaneously. Well, a collection of officials and wrestlers tried to sort it out, but it quickly became apparent that there was simply no way to say with certainty that they didn't both hit at the same time, resulting in co-winners of the brawl for the first time in UWA Elite history. And with the blessing of both Dave Swan and Corey Dillinger, Dillinger's request to make the main event of Last Breath a triple threat match was granted. And so even though Joey Adams may no longer be under contract, as of this taping, requests to the Old Guard for a statement have not been answered, if you win the brawl, you don't need to be a contracted member of the UWA Elite roster. Think of the special guests, referees, commentary members, cameramen, and other non-contracted entrants who have sought victory in the brawl. So that means Corey Dillinger will be facing not one, but both of his previous 2 opponents at Last Breath. Powers, who he faced at iWrestle, and Adams, who he defeated immediately before the brawl last month. Now, while this would normally be a ridiculously difficult challenge for Dillinger, the last moments of Brawl for It All would of course make us think that Adams and Powers may have a bit of unfinished business, possibly creating an opening for the champ to claim victory. Then again, it's a triple threat, so Dillinger doesn't even have to get pinned to lose his championship. Can the champ fend off 2 former tag team partners? Or will we have, for the first time in 26 months, a UWA Elite champion not named Bull or Dillinger. It is diligent Corey Dillinger against stuntman Chris Powers against anti-hero Joey Adams in a triple threat match for the UWA Elite Championship, and it is your main event, the final match of 2024, happening this Saturday at Last Breath. So there you have it, UWA Elite fans, the final card rundown of 2024. Rivalries, friendships, partnerships, decades of history, and first-time matchups. It is all coming your way this Saturday, November 16th, as Last Breath comes to you live from the UWA Elite Army Base at the South River VFW, 31 Reed Street in South River, New Jersey. Doors open at 6 p.m., bell time is 6:30, and we want to see your wizarding best for this themed event. As of this taping, ringside seats are sold out, so if you want to see it all live and in person, head over to UWAElite.com right now to get your tickets. And since you're already online, why not follow us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, formerly Twitter, and don't forget to catch up on every single UWA Elite supercard in our history on the UWA Elite Network, powered by YouTube. I don't know what else to say that hasn't already been said. It is our season finale, and you won't want to miss a single moment of the action. Until then, this is the man of 1,000 spreadsheets, MC Hale, saying I will see you at ringside. Leviosa. Leviosa, not Leviosa. Leviosa.
Stop. You're going to take someone's eye. Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. You do it if you're so clever.
They got it on pure talent.
10 points to Gryffindor.